What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the best raid supporters that you should build for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The Pokemon Home update came out and gave us a lot more options. And of course, this is a follow-up to my previous video where I showed you the best Pokemon that you should build per type for raiding. And if you follow both of these videos, you will have all the tools you need to farm every 6-star and 7-star raid in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And of course, guys, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and consider joining the Pan fam today by hitting that join button below. And first Pokemon is going to be Cresselia, newly added from Pokemon Home. And with Cresselia, we're going to be an absolute tanky monster. That 120 base HP, that 110 defense, and that 120 speed def. And I would recommend, of course, always maxing your HP on any of these Pokemon because this is a raid. And if you want to go for a defensive raid, max defense. If you want to go for a especially defensive raid, then I would go for max def, but that's going to be up to you. But overall, I think it's better to max the defense just because you have a higher natural def stat in general. And then with that bold nature, you further boost that defensive stat. Now, Lunar Blessing is a signature move of Cresselia, which is really good. It heals 1/4 max HP of all your allies, and it cures their status effects, making Cresselia probably the best cleric in the game. Cresselia also learns Reflect and Light Screen, which is absolutely phenomenal, so I definitely recommend having one of the screens. And because it learns both screens, I think it's going to be a great Light Clay user for your item. Now, for a support move, Helping Hand is always going to be good because you are a supporter. You want to help your allies do more damage. So identify who your main damage dealer is on your team. Use Helping Hand on them when you don't have to put up Reflect or heal up the team. And then for an annoyance move, you can use Mud Slap. Mud Slap will work through shields, which is really good. And a little bit of damage. We don't care about the damage. We care about it has a 100% chance of lowering the target's accuracy. So making it so your teammates and yourself won't get hit as often, which is always good. This Pokemon does have a really good moveset in general from a bunch of things it learns. You could put like Psychic or Psyshock if you want to do some actual stab damage on here. You can put Thunder Wave. That's another decent option too. Confuse Ray is another decent option as well. If you don't want to get hit, you could do Double Team. If you need a lower speed, then Icy Wind is pretty decent as well. You can also put up the Sun. There's a lot of solid options with this Pokemon. Now, if you don't have Cresselia, then Blissey is going to be a good backup option. I mean, this Pokemon's always been phenomenal. It's still going to be phenomenal in the current raid meta. I mean, the HP stat's crazy and you want to max it. And the defense stat is actually pitiful, but you do want to max it because your Spadef is really good, especially that HP stat. You don't need to worry about Spadef at all. You can put the 4 extra EVs in Spadef if you would like to. I just have mine in special attack just to do a little bit more damage. And the ability healer is going to be really solid. 30% chance this Pokemon's ally has its status cured at the end of each turn. That can be really helpful in a lot of raids, so I always recommend this ability. Now, our moveset, Chilling Water, is going to be our first move. It's going to be our damaging move on this set. 100% chance to lower the target's attack by 1. Works through shields. Phenomenal. Now, Heal Pulse is going to be our second move. Heals the target by 50% of his max HP. Essentially, this is a targeted recover, which is going to be really good. Now, you could use Life Dew instead if you would like. I actually prefer Heal Pulse over Life Dew, in my opinion. I mean, 1/4 of your allies max HP is pretty solid, but you know, it's up to you. I think a stronger heal can be more important in general. Light Screen is going to be your screen. Unfortunately, we do not learn Reflect, but still Light Clay and Light Screen is going to be really helpful in general. And then we also get Helping Hand, which is to help our damage dealers do more damage in general. Now, we do have a lot of decent moves overall, but I wouldn't recommend doing damage. I mean, Soft Boil is another option. If you want to heal yourself and keep yourself alive, Soft Boil you could try to fit in this set. Thunder Wave is another decent option as well. You do have Charm. Charm does lower the attack by 2, but it does not work through shields, which is why I like Chilling Water more than it. You could also use something like Icy Wind. You want to lower some speed as well. You can set up the rain, which is nice. Skill Swap is going to be pretty decent in some cases. Tail Whip to lower the defense. So if you want to have a like bootleg Screech user on the Blissey, you can use Tail Whip, which honestly does work pretty well in certain situations. Definitely do not sleep on Tail Whip on Blissey. Now for Umbreon, This Pokemon is just straight up one of the best support Pokemon in the game, and I would recommend everyone in this video, if you're gonna make one Pokemon, it should always be Umbreon. Umbreon's absolutely cracked. I mean, it has insanely high base HP, defense, and SPDF when you combine it all together. Always want to max that HP, max SPDF here, but you can max the defense. I would actually recommend having one Umbreon max SPDF and one Umbreon max defense because they're really easy to make. You can get them naturally in Scarlet and Violet, so I always would. And the two big important things is you get Fake Tears and you get Screech. Now, you don't need to run both of these on the same Pokemon. Now, you could have two Umbreons, one's a Fake Tear variant, one that's a Screech variant. But, you know, just to show off, yes, you do get two of the best moves. Fake Tears is phenomenal, has 100 accuracy. Fortunately, Screech is the best defensive lowering move in the game, but it's only 85% accurate, so keep that in mind. This is why we have the item Wide Lens. If you're going to run Screech on your Umbreon, then Wide Lens is going to be necessary. Snarl here. Snarl has a 100% chance of lowering the foe's special attack by 1, which is going to be really useful. Wide Lens will make this essentially 100% accurate. Then Helping Hand, which I always love. I mean, that boost to your allies at damage is always very helpful. There's a bunch of other great moves that you can learn here. If you want to heal yourself, Moonlight's gonna be good. You do get Light Screen, you do get Reflect, so if you want to do Screen Setter, you can do both screens and have Light Clay as well if you would like to do that. You could do Taunt, which can be helpful on some setup mons. Thunder Wave is always gonna be good. You could do Yawn to do like a slow sleep stall. Baby Doll Eyes to lower that attack, and it does have, I believe, priority, right? Baby Doll Eyes, which is actually pretty solid. And I mean, you got just a bunch of other moves. I mean, you could do Mud Slap to lower accuracy. Skill Swap is always decent on certain Pokemon. Tail Whip if you don't want to use the Screech, if you want to do something else. You can also do Tickle. Tickle's really good as well. It lowers the target's attack and defense by 1. So yeah, this Pokemon sort of has everything. I just really highly recommend making 2 Umbreons. Now, next up is Berserker. Berserker, very similar to Umbreon, has both Fake Tears and Screech, and it gets Helping Hand. So we're going to be running Wide Lens on it. And, you know, looking at its stats, its defense, its HP are pretty solid. You can max these out. You probably want to put just 4 here and then 252 in this case because we're running full support. Our SPDF is absolutely pitiful. But we are Steel type, which means we have a lot of great natural defenses in general. But the big reason why you build a Berserker is you use Berserker whenever you're going to be raiding with a Steel type attacker. So this could be another Berserker. This could be a Goldango. This could be a Dialga. As long as the attacker that you're with is using special super effective Steel type moves, and then I would always recommend Berserker, because it boosts the damage of Steel type moves and their power by 1.5. And Steely Spirit does stack. So if you have 4 Berserkers on the field, all Berserkers are going to be getting a Steely Spirit boost times 4. Now, most of the time, there's usually, like, let's say a Goldango, and then you have 3 Berserkers. That's still, that one Goldango is still getting 3 Steely Spirit boosts. And that's how you get a lot of turn 1 kills with a lot of different Pokemon. So this thing's absolutely phenomenal. And I do recommend Iron Head as the last damaging move, but you can do Chilling Water if you want to lower physical attack is another decent option here too. You get some decent moves, but overall, like, you really are just here to set up with these Fake Tears of Screech and then Helping Hand. You have Taunt, pretty decent as well. Charm is really solid, lowering the attack by 2. Once again, does not work through Shield, so keep that in mind. But overall, really good Pokemon. Do not sleep on this Pokemon. I highly recommend getting it, especially for certain 7-star raids. Berserker is going to be the #1 supporter for sure. Now, Corviknight is our next supporter. Once again, Screech and Fake Tears, another phenomenal Pokemon that gets both. Absolutely love that. And we're going to go max HP, max defense. You could go max SPDF as well. You could recommend going for both of full defense and full SPDF one. And the ability Mirror Armor is actually really good. Makes Corviknight really unique. So if the Pokemon you're facing, let's say, has Intimidate as his ability, or it has things that can drop your stats or something like that, like Growl, well then the Mirror Armor ability will reflect that and put it back onto the opponent, so the raid boss in this scenario, which is really good. So the Corviknight can actually end up being one of the best supporters depending on who you're actually facing. Wide Lens is phenomenal because we once again have Screech, and we do have Light Screen here. Do we learn Reflect? We do learn Reflect. So if you want to do Light Screen and Reflect with Light Clay, that's another phenomenal option for this Pokemon. Drill Peck is going to be a solid damaging move. You want to go down that route as well. You can use Roost to get that HP back as well. Another solid one. Now for a new option, Alolan Mug, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and it actually ends up being a really good support Pokemon too. The big thing about Alolan Mug is a Poison Dark Pokemon. It's just one of the best type combinations in Pokemon in general. You really are only weak to ground. So you have just phenomenal like defenses in that regard based on your typing. 105 HP is really good, so we want to max that, of course. And then you have lower defense than your special defense. 100 Spadef is pretty solid. I just maxed a defense here because most ground type attacks are going to be physical. So you could build two, one that's max Spadef, one that's max defense. And I go with the bold nature because we're not going to use our 105 physical attack, unfortunately, here. And wide lines because we do learn Screech and Snarl. So you're going to pretty much make these things as accurate as they possibly could be. And we learn Acid Spray, which is the best support move in the entire game. This is a support move that, just like Fake Tears, lowers Spadef by 2. However, it goes through shields, which means you can Acid Spray forever. It's going to be phenomenal for special attackers, so highly recommend. But, you know, if you don't want to use Acid Spray, you can use Screech. We also get Helping Hand, which is a phenomenal move as well. Once again, helping you do that bigger damage. You get a couple of other options if you'd like to. You get Taunt, which is always good. You get Toxic if you want to go down that route. For raising your evasion. Mud Slap for dropping their accuracy. You get some of the weather setting as well, which is going to be pretty useful too. And now for our other Poison Dark type, that's going to be Overquill, which replaces Quillfish on this list because it's just straight up a better Quillfish. Better typing with that Dark and Poison. And we do have the ability Intimidate, which is going to be incredibly helpful. So whenever we come out on the field and whenever we faint and come back out, we're going to be lowering the opponent's attack by 1, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And we have pretty solid stats. I mean, 85 HP and maxing that's pretty decent. Defense 95, not bad. I just maxed this Spadef because it's a little bit lower, but you can go max defense if you would like to with a plus Spadef nature minus attack in this case. But once again, you can tweak this to whatever you would like it to be. And Chilling Water is going to help us lower the attack further. So Overquill is going to be essentially the specialist on lowering the attack with Intimidate and Chilling Water combo. You also have Acid Spray, so if you want to lower that Spadef to assist your teammates to do that like turn 1 or turn 2 KOs, Acid Spray is going to be the move right there. Acupressure, phenomenal move. Raises a random set of the user or an ally by 2. This can absolutely be phenomenal, especially if you have teammates who are using stored power sets. That can be really good. But in general, this is always going to be a solid option. And then you have Minimize for your last slot. Raises your user's evasion by 2, which is always going to be pretty good. You could go for some other things. You could go for like a Barb Barrage if you would like to. Try to get some poison going on with like it's like 50% chance to get that poison off, which is pretty decent. You do have Taunt, which is always pretty solid as well. You can go for Icy Wind to lower that speed. You can go for Mud Shot to try to lower the speed as well. Scary Face, another speed control move. Supersonic, not a great move, but pretty decent if it does hit. And for the item, I just recommend Shell Bell because the big thing here is you need that sustain. You don't have a good way of keeping up your own HP. So when you hit an Acid Spray or a Chilling Water, you'll get some HP back, which is always going to be helpful. Now we have Hisui and Gudra here. And Hisui and Gudra, absolutely phenomenal Pokemon. In crazy pseudo-legendary stats. We're going to max HP. Actually, I'm going to run max special attack because you can be more of an offensive supporter. If you don't want to do max special attack, then I would actually probably recommend putting this into your defense and going with like a bold nature if you would like to, and then put 4 into your either Spadef, or you can put the 4 into your special attack. That's going to be up to you. And I do recommend the item Shell Bell. And then your abilities are all actually pretty good. Sap Sipper is really good if you're facing like the 6-star Amoonguss. I would recommend that. But in general, Shell Armor is really good so you don't get crit. Gooey's pretty good if the Pokemon's really fast and hitting you, then you can lower their speed. But all these abilities have some sort of viability. And of course, you learn Acid Spray, and with Acid Spray, you're going to be lowering that Spadef by 2. Chilling Water, lower that attack by 1. A damaging move in general is Dragon Pulse here, just so we can do some damage. And we have good natural special attacks, so that's still going to hit. You can also use like Flash Cannon in that slot as well. For our last move, I mean, there's a bunch of different options for damaging moves. If you would like to go double damage, you could. You can go with Charm to lower that physical attack as well by 2 if you would like to. That's always going to be solid. Dragon Breath will have a 30% chance of paralyzing, so you can do damage. You can do Life Dew as well if you want to do a little bit of heal support, which is always pretty solid. I think I'll go with Life Dew on this set personally. Now for Galar Slowking, and you could also do Galar Slowbro as well, but I think Slowking is a little bit better overall. We're gonna be running own tempo so we don't get confused. Doesn't really matter what your ability is at the end of the day. Max HP, max defense, and you can put this extra 4 into special attack or special defense with a bold nature. And I like Shell Bell here for that little bit of sustain going on, because we actually do hit hard with that base 110 special attack, and we get that stab acid spray coming out. And with that acid spray, we can lower that SPDF by 2, and then we can hit some chilling waters to lower that attack by 1 if we need to. Or we can use Snarl to lower that special attack by 1. It's nice that we get both of these options. We also get Light Screen here, which is always going to be good. You could be a little bit more offensive and use something like a Calm Mind too if you would like, or a Nasty Plot if you want to do a little bit more damage on your end. But because we are going support, there's a couple other options. You can do Taunt, you can do Thunder Wave, you can do Toxic, you can do Yawn. You have a lot of different options with this Pokemon in general, which is always a solid thing to have. Heal Pulse for healing, Helping Hand, Icing Wind. There's just so much going on with this Pokemon. It's honestly hard to say what is a definitive moveset for this thing, but if you want to go screens with Light Screen here, you could go with a Light Clay too if you have like a Slack off in one of these slots. And then we have Clod Slayer, another Acid Spray user, and I'm going to be running a Water Absorb on this. Water Absorb is going to be really good against a certain water type Pokemon, so just recommend it. Gives you that constant heal back. We're going that max HP, max defense because our defense is really low with a bold nature here. And we do have that acid spray and chilling water combo once again. We do have Mud Slap for that accuracy, and then Helping Hand is going to further boost that damage or that a teammate does. And then we have Shell Bell, which is going to give us a little bit more HP sustain, which is always going to be nice. Hit a couple other decent moves. You could use like an Earth Power if you want to do damage on this thing. But, you know, there's some other solid stuff like a Toxic. Yawn was always going to be good on this Pokemon in general, too. Mist is pretty solid. Protects your party from a stat drops, which is pretty solid. Then lastly, we have Mew. Mew learns every single TM in the game, which just sort of makes it the ultimate support Pokemon or even attacker Pokemon. Base 100 stats across the board is always going to make it nice and bulky. Max HP, max defense with a bold nature is always going to be nice. I just prefer this than max SPDF, but you should probably make both if you can. And we get Acid Spray, which is phenomenal. We get both Reflect and Light Screen, so you can do dual screens of Light Clay. We have both Snarl and Chilling Water. But I mean, literally every single TM in the game you get. So depending on what you want to do with Mew, it's always going to be a good option. If you want to go full attacker, you have the stats for it. If you want to go full defensor and supporter, you have that stat too. So really up to you. Will-O-Wisp is good. Thunder Wave is good. Like Charm, there's just everything you want. I mean, for some reason you want Fake Tears over Acid Spray, you can do that too. Helping Hands, another good one. Icy Wind, Life Dew, just everything. Mud Slap, I mean, all the terrain, skill swap. Like, Mew's the ultimate support Pokemon. So Mew is sort of like, hey, do what you want, whatever you want to do with it is going to probably be a good idea. And you can change the item based on what you're doing. I just like Shell Bell for that good HP sustain when I'm doing the Acid Spray, Snarl, and Chilling Waters. Well, there we have it, guys. Those are all of the supporters I recommend to build for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I mean, that's a good amount of them. I think that was what, like 11 of them. Of course, there's gonna be other options that you could do, and you can let me know about those in the comment section below. But of course, guys, if you like this type of video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and consider joining the Pan Fam today by hitting that join channel member button below. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a great one.